Okay. Okay. What should older Rotary members understand about young people?
They're looking for opportunities. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was just about to say maybe it would be best if we just went around and said our own ideas. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
Good idea.
The one thing I've learned at the Young Professional Summit in Berkeley was that, young professionals are looking for mentorship opportunities, like possibly a way to meet other Rotarians in their industry or their profession. That's one of the things they're looking for. Definitely flexibility, of course, because, they're going into a stage in their life where they might be engaged or might be married and might be looking at having a family. So flexibility and mentorship was two of the things.
I definitely agree with that that mentorship comment. That was one of the things that that drew me to Rotary initially. I have a pretty new business, and one of the reasons I got into Rotary, besides my background of the Rotary Youth Exchange program, so I was already I knew I was going to be in Rotary eventually, but one of the reasons I joined when I did is because I was just starting my business, and not only the networking opportunities, but the possibility of having a mentorship of some sorts, either just organically within the club, or something that's more structured maybe in the community. We've talked about that before, and I feel like that would be really valuable. And then the other thing that I think would be, I guess, just I think that Rotary, in order to appeal to more younger people, it just needs to have a rebranding almost. And part of that is maybe doing just more things that are really fun in locations that are fun. And where we meet, Lahaina Sunset, I think that our club is pretty fun. It was the more fun of the clubs that I had checked out or been a part of in the past. But we meet at the Royal Lahaina, which isn't a bad spot, but it's just not a place where I find a bunch of other 30-year-olds hanging out. And so that would be kind of cool, change of venue, change of meeting format, something like that.
Thanks.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Okay, good. I'm not on mute. I would have to agree, Erica and Lane. Definitely the mentorship is something that I would be interested in. Definitely getting to network is something that drew me into Rotary. I graduated from college maybe 2 years ago, and I'm really new to my industry. So I think definitely meeting new people, and if that's in the case of virtual Pauhanas, maybe twice a month or something like that would be pretty beneficial. Or Naomi, what you're saying as a satellite kind of meeting center, that would be interesting too.
Yeah, I'd agree with what everybody said so far. The other part to the mentorship is I think that a lot of us are looking for networking and even an element of friendship with older individuals within our community. That the age isn't necessarily a factor in it, but we want to know who our club members are. And that's one of the things I value that Ben and his sister Lonnie have done, is they really reached out to me when I first joined and made me feel welcome, included in the club. But there's some club members that are even in my own club that have never said hello to me or hi or anything. And it feels almost a very us versus them. And they're just there's almost looking at us like, oh, well, he'll be after soon. So, you know, just making sure that we're welcoming to all of the young people would be really, really nice.
I think that a strong part is really understanding like your target market. So if you're going for, because we keep saying the word young people, but I can honestly say that, you know, it's not necessarily, you know, when I think of young people, I'm thinking of 12, 13, 14, 15. And then now we're on the topic of early 30s. So those are two totally different demographics, and you can reach them in totally different ways. But I'm thinking if you're looking for young people, go young. I mean, definitely have a strong presence on all social media outlets because that's a great way to target individuals across a very large age difference. One thing that our club did was I believe it's Rebel Hawaii. They have a strong presence on the west side. They went ahead and planted several trees at the high school, Lahaina Luna. So then with that, you're building a partnership with high schoolers there, which, you know, are going to go on to college and then they're going to graduate and then they become potential members. So I think that whatever you're trying to target, you should actually go lower. You should go younger and then kind of see where it goes. But I definitely think that social media is a great way to reach out. And then also tying in with what Erica had said, you know, if you want young people to be a part of it, then, you know, maybe have a health and wellness week where you do yoga on the beach one day a month, and then it's free. So young people love free stuff. So maybe hiring a yoga instructor or, you know, hosting something like that that's really going to get high schoolers in or people in their early 20s who are like-minded, professional into health and well-being. So I think hosting social gatherings, you know, safely distanced and whatnot, but do it, outdoor activities are great. Maybe doing something like that, but then posting it on social media. I think with that, you're going to have a really good response. But like I all said in the beginning, it's just really understanding your target market and then going for that. So if you guys are, if you're saying young people, meaning early 30s, it might be a lot different from like early teens. So just keeping that in mind. But yeah.
I would like to add a little bit, and I guess get a little clarification. But I think when we think of young people in Rotary, we think about young professionals. So I don't, so young professionals, which meaning, I guess it's all the, probably college graduates at 22 and older up to 45, I guess, or what's that official, I guess, range. I think that's, and I think that's the guess demographic and age range we should look into for, you know, I guess our Rotary clubs in a way, because we want to have working professionals. So because it's a membership club. So I don't think it's necessary we have to, this is my opinion, necessarily have to someone who is younger than, or younger, who hasn't graduated from college yet, or anyway. So I think, because we do have Rotaractors, that's Rotaract clubs that are primarily for those students who can be active and do things, you know, within the universities. It's a little bit different, I think. So Rotary clubs, I see more young professionals. You know, it can be college graduates who are seeking for, you know, some connections, you know, and, you know, or recent college graduate who currently work and who can also, you know, pay the membership, you know, fees and all of that. Because I think that's also one of the things that I'm sure a lot of younger professionals consider in terms of how much, you know, the fees. And other thing is that we all know that Rotary Club's culture is a lot about giving, and giving, to some extent, it's financial giving as well. And it's not like every member is required and everyone gives whatever he can give, like a skill, talent, or time, or money or whatever it is. So, but I think it's a big Rotary culture that have this, culture of giving. And then I think what I appreciate about in our club in Honolulu Sunset, that we really embrace this concept of time, treasure, talent. So we don't necessarily, we don't have a lot, too many young professionals, but we have younger professionals who maybe cannot give that much financial at this point of their lives, but they can give some time, they can give their talents, they can give their, passions or something. And then we have other members who cannot, maybe attend the meetings, who cannot participate in service projects but they can give financially, because that's what, and I think that's equally important. And I think that's something, if would like to attract, that's something how I see in our club, that when we see younger professionals, we always say that it's whatever you would like to give, whatever you want also to learn from this experience of being part of the club. So anyway, I just wanted to add that. Thanks.
If I may add something, is that okay?
Yes, Billy.
Yep. So I think that I agree with everyone's points of view. And I would really like to have like a plan or how we can make it work for young professionals. I do not, but I think that through my experience with my club, because my club is very young in age, I think that many of my club members would feel, or we could be attracting more members if we could offer a better professional growth program that is not just organically. So I have found that Rotary for me is being like, I have found like different mentors that I could consider my mentors in Rotary, but it's not because I have go through a program to get to grow in leadership or planning or in my, or that I get benefit for my professional growth. It's more that it had happened organically. Because I have jumped into projects, because I have done this thing, because I have called people, I have emailed people, I have asked questions, but not everyone is in the same pace. And I think that if we can have like a more open opportunity for young professionals to access to that professional growth that all of us may be seeking, that would be a good start. It doesn't have to be exactly like a mentorship, but it can be like some sort of program that just facilitates a young professional to reach out other people from their industry, or to learn from someone that knows how to do something. As I say, I don't have like a clear idea of how that would look like, but I know that as a young professional, I am always seeking to get better and to improve myself, and to learn from those that I already have done it in the past, right? Aside from that, I think that a good point is that, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Aside from that, I think that it is important to know that as a young professional, we don't have the same flexibility to just plan our schedules and attend different meetings at different times of during the day, because when you are working for a company and you are in an entry position, you have to work office hours, right? Like you have to work from 8 to 12 or 1 to 5 or 6. So it can be challenging to ask too much from those young professionals if they are like having a full-time job. I think that someone mentioned also like a different venues, like a more fresher events, fellowships that are more attractive to the young people. Because when we have, for example, like a ball, when we dress fancy and we have to like donate, or we have to pay like expensive tickets, we may just feel like we just don't want to go, because we may have to, like, we need that money for the end of the month for something that we actually have. Like, we are in this point of life where we make enough money to keep ourselves alive, and we still struggling probably like financially wise. So I think that it has to be like flexible in that aspect also. And as I mentioned, we are very oriented on giving, and even though it's not like a requirement, yeah, members can feel the pressure that they have to pay dues and that they have to give, and that this is the amount that you have to donate, and that we need money for the foundation, and that we want to raise that much money. And I know it is good, and I mean, I donate, but I can feel like some of members may feel uncomfortable when you have to, when it's just on the air, and they feel the pressure that there may not be fulfilling their role as a member, just because they don't have the capacity, the financial capacity to do that. So I think it is important to consider that the income restriction like could be a struggle for many of young professionals. Like, I'm more in Hawaii, I mean, with housing, with everything being like extra expensive. So I think that's, I probably, it's just like a recap of what everyone say, but I think that we mostly agree on what is the situation with young professionals.
Thank you. Hey, so, you know, I've been told that people don't like to be called young professionals, and that's why I had young leaders. So what is young professionals, is okay or not okay?
Could I make a comment first?
Evan?
So I guess going back to the topic, at the end of the day, it's all value. And when we look at it from the perspective of a younger person or younger professional or someone that's growing their career, where we are in the arc, it's much closer to we're trying to build a career. And I think the truth is, for a lot of Rotary members worldwide, they're at the other end, which is to say they're already successful. So I think that there's a huge factor of, you know, where your members are or where you want them to be and what their focus should be. And what I've noticed is Rotary's really changed from back in the day and where we are in the US versus international, where international Rotary means networking and Rotary means business. Yes, Rotary means doing cool stuff and having fun, but you know, there is a much bigger focus on the business side. So even for me, I focus a lot of my speakers more on growing and developing in the business community or being successful at your job, or small businesses like Kua Pancake House, of how he reinvented the company to adjust for COVID. And I do think that the Rotary means business is important in terms of a pipeline, if that's what you're trying to accomplish. But the next question always ends up being, what is networking? What is successful networking? How is networking important to growing your career? And so those are all aspects that if you want those to be, you know, we all want to be Rotarians at the end of the day, and we all want to give back. But unless we can survive, unless we can be successful in the world, you can't get there. So I think there needs to be, and this is where I've been working on for my club personally, is personal development, how to grow leadership, how to help push the boundaries of where they are in terms of their social skill set, or, you know, pushing them to do a little bit more work in the club and taking charge of things. And so I think all of those aspects will help to get us to where we want to be. Is we all want to grow as people. We want to make friends. We want to, you know, do cool stuff in the world. But I do think that some of the focus needs to be, if you want to attract young people, you need to have it be fun. Probably involves drinking. Second thing, it needs to have value of how to help us to be successful. How can we network, and how does that networking help us to grow in our careers, or how do we develop ourselves professionally? And again, the Toastmasters is very good in terms of the public speaking skill set that every leader needs, and the relationship building that's necessary. But that's just where I think that the gap of where Rotary was, where they are now, and if you want to transition to the future, that's ultimately sort of you need to bridge the gap. And, you know, it's a club-wide effort. You know, some of the comments previously is people aren't very nice or friendly, and that's more on the club. And, you know, something that kind of the club has to address as well, you know, of what a good club means. Because my club, you know, when I first came in, what I loved about them was they were very nice. They were very friendly. We had a good mix of people from, in terms of the age demographics. And that's where I think it sort of has to be, every club needs to relook at themselves in some ways of what makes a good club. But also, you know, to kind of incorporate some of the business side. So even for the next meeting I'm having on Wednesday for our bi-monthly meetings, I'm going to do the end of the year recap for some of the professionals. So for financial planning, you know, some of the things to consider. We have a lot of realtors in our club. So the next meeting, we're going to do something about like a recap for the year on real estate, some of those things, you know, maybe not be a hard sell on, you know, use me, I'm a realtor myself. But it's more like, how can I provide value to the club so the members can be more successful? Sorry, that was long.
Oh, thank you very much. So
back to the question that you had about like young professionals versus young leaders. I mean, I don't have anything one way or another. It doesn't, yeah. I mean, I don't mind either term.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So should we call this group the young professionals or the young leaders? Who wants young professionals? Raise your hand.
I think, to be honest, I think it would be best to maybe veer away from the word young, just because it's super easy to misinterpret in general. So I'm sure that there's a better term that can, because when I think of young, we hire young people and they're not in like, I'm talking like 18, 19, 20, and they make significant amounts and they're work very hard. So it's just, I think saying young can be so easily misinterpreted. It might be best to find a better word, if that makes sense. Because before I even came in, I was like, oh yes, so we are targeting, you know, the young people. And then everyone's like, yeah, early 30s. And I was like, whoa, that's...
to answer to Kelsey, so for younger than 30 years old, or like the age that you are mentioning, 18, 19, we use youth because we have youth programs in Rotary. That was what I was mentioning, that we have Interact, we have Rotaract. So that will they will classify in youth, I believe. So from my point of view, I don't have any problem with young professionals or young leaders.
Yeah.
And I think that it has to have like some connotation so we can understand what is our target. Like we do need a word to understand like what is the age or the target population that we are trying to get into Rotary.
Okay.
So if there is a better word, I don't know.
But like professional, like even a young professional, that is, I would never assume that that's going to mean anybody that's 12 years old or even 18 years old, like maybe getting into 22, but I feel like a young professional is pretty like.
It's a standard across a lot of industries as well.
Yeah.
Young professional groups in every industry.
People starting out their careers.
Okay, so maybe we can think about the name of this group. I think because we have so many great ideas here, and we can, you know, when you're talking about value, how can we get value to this group? It's the mentoring, it's the venues, it's the fundraising that Tiara said, it's the social things that we can do outside of your own club, because there is value for your own club, but how can we bring you extra value within this special group that you have right here? Okay, so if we had a group on every island to organize fun things to do, fun projects, networking, and then the networking we can do on Zoom. You know, once a month we have a networking thing, and then if we do a career topic or a professional development topic, then we can bring in the speakers for you. So maybe Benson can think of a Hawaiian name for this group, but what do you guys think? If we can stay together and bring more people in and think about, okay, what kind of, if we're going to do a 3-day conference, really fun with professional development, you know, we need people to organize this, and we can do that all on Zoom now. and bring in speakers that can reach everyone across the state. Okay, so it's every island, if we could form these groups on every island, and then maybe a main group that can organize the Zooms, the district-wide conference, the mentorship programs, then you can get value out of just this without any money. So, you know, we just have some fun, but I think if it's coming from you, then you know what you want, you know what people around your age want, right? And so is that something that you guys are game? You think we can do it? Yeah. Hey, Jacob.
I feel like there was a lot of things that were just thrown out.
Yep.
I'm not really sure like I guess I don't really know what's expected of me. I would like a little more clarification on what that means. Like, what's the goal of this group actually?
Well, right now it was to brainstorm. Okay, so are you getting the value? Are you getting what you want out of Rotary? And right now, you know, you talked about mentorship, about doing fun things. And if you're not getting it out of your club, then we can form this group of young professionals, or whatever you want to call it, and have those career days about Zooming for the networking part. And then it could be just your brainstorming here to bring ideas, but it could be that you organize on your island one of the social events. Okay, so it's whatever you can give your talent to put into this initiative. Okay, so before we kind of start drilling down into some of these action plans, I wanted to ask Jacob and Jonas, you know, and Dylan for some feedback. What do you guys think?
I have a couple thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you know, Peely and I are in a club that is more young professionals than the majority of clubs. And I think the main reason for that is because we focus on the environment. We focus on something that young professionals are more attracted to. And maybe that's something that other clubs need to look at is, you know, the things that they're focusing on, are those really what's going to attract people of this demographic? Or do we have to evolve, adapt? You know, I remember, I forget the high school's name, but, you know, there's a mass shooting. The entire country, the youth stood up and, you know, had marches, had, you know, direct action toward Congress. And like, it was so empowering seeing how they stood up and how engaged they were, you know, and I never saw anything like that when I was in high school. So I know that's, you know, the youth demographic, but, you know, focusing on things that people care about, that people are, you know, that is in the zeitgeist, I think could go a long way. Another thing I want to talk about is just how important, but I think the most value that anybody can have is to help other people fulfill their potential, right? You know, I can only do so much in my own life, but if I can connect people in ways that help them, you know, serve out their passion, connect them to other, you know, people in other industries and have an impact there, that's the most I can do. And we have a generation that is, more than any in the past, wants to have a career in something that's meaningful to them. You know, they're willing to take a pay cut in order to do something that they're passionate about. And we need to be prioritizing that and utilizing that to get us to where we want to go. And one of the easiest things to do is just more than mentorship, just have informational interviews available. Just having people in those fields that people can just have a conversation with, and then you have that conversation, that person leads to another conversation, leads to another conversation. You know, most of the job market is not posted online. It's found through networking. It's found through just talking to other people and having conversations, and something will open up. That's where I've had the most luck, and I know a lot of people are in that same position. So I think, you know, it's not instead of, but A mentorship is a lot of commitment, I think, for some people, but a conversation isn't.
I love the idea of those informational interviews. And I think, what we do with our speakers is a kind of along those lines. It's hard, from Maui, there's only so many people you can kind of bring in for those speakers. But I know like a lot of the speakers that come in, I know everybody's got some value, but it's just like I don't feel like it's relevant to me, or it's just kind of boring. Finding again, like maybe a different way to have that presentation, or just really, I guess, speakers that are super interesting, or maybe even having like somebody that's younger in the club that picks those speakers. That might be kind of cool, to kind of tie into like that informational interview kind of format.
I would like to add something of what Erica and Jacob say. So I think that for projects are relevant also for young professionals, because because if you pitch a project to a young professional of reading a book in a kindergarten or a primary school, they might not find that project appealing, because we haven't really, like, it's not an issue that we grew up with, that we don't understand or we can't really relate to feel touched by doing that type of projects. So what Jacob mentioned, that to keep like the projects or the mission of what we're gonna do relevant, is very important. In my case, I can relate to literacy projects because I know that my home country, illiteracy is a big issue still, right? But for many of those members or young professionals that we may be targeting, they don't find that like something meaningful, that they think that they could contribute to make a better world, if that's the case.
If I could just add one thing. Sorry. Jacob, I really liked what you had to say about maybe if, we might not be too available for a mentorship program. And I totally get that, because, a lot of us have other things going on. Things are mostly Zoom now. The person mentoring might not have all the time. But even like a workshop might be beneficial and of value to the young professionals going into, I guess, their, can't think of the word, but I guess like workshops such as maybe somebody wants to network with somebody in a certain industry, or somebody wants to maybe work on their resume a little bit more and isn't sure about how to do something like that. Along those lines, I'm just throwing things out of my brain right now. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
Do we have somewhere that kind of accumulates that knowledge? Like, hey, here's someone who has done career coaching. Here's someone who has done, who has been in this field or this field that maybe you can talk to.
Yeah, we can find people, but you got to let us know what topics you want. And so I think doing, like, we have training assemblies in the spring. And so what if we had like a 3-day or a Saturday where we have breakout sessions with different topics, and people can just jump in and ask that question and have those, like Jacob said, the conversations about certain careers. Okay, so we can plan that. That's no problem. And so if we have these meetings, webinars, networking every month, and somebody said twice a month, so what, like, if it's a weekend or a weekday, what time of the day, what day is better for you guys?
think anything over a weekend. Sometimes, a lot of times, our club tries to do things during the week, and it's just tough because a lot of us do have 9-to-5 jobs, so it's not always easy to make it.
So like a Saturday morning, you mean?
Yeah, I think Saturday morning would be great. That's just me personally and speaking for, like, obviously people along my demographic that I work with, but yeah.
Okay, what about everybody else? Give me a thumbs up if you like Saturday mornings.
I prefer like an evening, something like this, or like 6 o'clock is what I would prefer.
On a weekday?
On a weekday.
Yeah, we got our cartoon.
Erica, you want to sleep in on Saturday?
No, first of all, I own a restaurant, and so I don't really have weekends. That doesn't exist in my world. But also on my weekends, like, you can probably guarantee that I'm in the water or not around, and I'm turning my phone off.
Okay, so weekdays, 6 o'clock, thumbs up if you like weekdays, 6 o'clock.
That would work. Weekday 6 o'clock would work. I feel like the group, maybe we could, for the future, we could split it up into smaller groups for, maybe some people could have it at one point, and they can then join in, and someone could keep minutes. I just wanted to, I was trying to listen on everyone's opinions on things, and then about the youth, the question of what is the youth that we're aiming for. I think maybe, now I don't know, but one thing that gets accented with the Rotary for me is the opportunities it opens for travel and such. And that could be me growing up in high school, I never heard of Rotary until I went into college. And so maybe then if it's possible to make people aware of this organization, Rotary or Rotaract, and just let them know that the sort of opportunities would open with traveling. So that would be the fun part, but people would have to work up to it. It wouldn't necessarily be going out and going to parties and drinking, but more so it'll develop people towards their future. And then for young professionals, as in, people in their 30s, when I was joining the club, something that was conveyed to me was that the older people in their 50s and on, they would take care of the majority finances, while the young people in their 20s would commit their time to volunteer. And I don't know, it was a bit like it was a given almost to commit your time, and then you get to work together on these projects that will then benefit the community. And that's where the fun seems to come in. You can then really see, you want to make a change, and you commit your time with a group of other people who do that, and somebody else commits their finances, and you see the results. And that's the reason I joined Rotary. And then the whole brotherhood part, I feel like that would manifest itself in that ability to get to explore stuff rather than, I don't know. I'm not much into social hour, I guess, the happy hours, but more in the idea of personal growth and community work. And I feel like by volunteering that time, these people will get the opportunity to get the mentorship from the older folks who are there for that reason. And that's how you make your networks and everything. I feel like Rotary is almost a given for that, and the question is how to make, when we question how to make it better, then I guess is we have to see who we target, and that was brought up already. And for the younger ones, I feel like traveling would be it's the hook that might get them on board to join in and commit their time. That's all I have.
I definitely agree with that. Even in the way that, like for me, like I mentioned before, I was a Rotary Youth Exchange student when I was in high school. And because of that life-changing experience, I always knew I was going to be in Rotary. I was, you know, in high school, in college, and then I think I joined when I was like 27, our club. But that travel aspect is what pulled me in. I would love to be able to do more travel, like service trips too. I think we could get more people, you know, my age, our age in the community involved, really promoting those.
Okay, that's good. So so Sandy, Randy, and I have talked about having an international service trip every year for the district for whoever wants to go. But you know, that doesn't mean that you guys cannot come up with another project of your own. Like Wendy Hornak wants to go to Uganda and do a project with connections she has there. So next year we're looking at going to Nepal to do a service project in Nepal in October. The following year, Randy's looking at Fiji to do a project in Fiji. And so we can do, you know, if there's a project that you guys come up with and you want to organize it, we can help you do that. So that's one. And I think everybody has a different focus, a different thing that you want to do that makes it more of a value proposition for you. So why don't we look at, and Evan, you're going to set up that poll on what day of the week we can meet. So for now,
I can do like a doodle, but I can't do, if we want it within the meeting structure itself, you have to actually set up the settings before the meeting.
No, you can do it now. So I gave you a co-host so you can set it up. But
you might need to give me actual hosting privileges. I think you actually have to.
Okay, so let's start with getting the networking things going, and we want to see what day of the week and that's going to work best for the majority of you, and then we can do a Saturday webinars and career. Jacob, what do you want to call it? Conversations, and so what we can do is set up a blog. And so the blog will be, everybody put in some suggestions on career, who you want to hear from, and then we can go with the majority and set that up. Okay, wait. Okay, so wait, first, let me get Evan, the host.
Yeah,
okay.
I think it needs to be like, I'm the host.
Okay.
I got it. Okay.
Okay, so we'll start with the networking, just real casual, and let's do it in about 2 weeks, 6 o'clock on a day that you guys come up with on the poll that Evan is going to set up. And sorry, I would set it up.
I don't think you set up the polls. You added the breakout rooms, but I don't see like a poll feature.
You know, oh, what happened to
it has to be set up before you start the meeting.
Yeah.
If you want
no, really, I have set up during the meetings that it is possible. But anyway, if we'll start with the networking side. So this is statewide, the district-wide, and we'll invite anybody, and you guys can invite whoever you want. Okay, so let's look at this young professional group, and we'll go like from maybe 22, Terry, 22, so that's a 22 to 40 maybe. Okay, and then the Rotaractors, we'll do something else for Rotaractors because they have a different kind of thing that they want to do. So we're talking about maybe doing international service projects. Okay, so we would need to plan that way in advance. Okay, we're talking about maybe Saturdays on doing career development, and so topics like maybe Toastmasters can do some topics, and then the mentorship would be more in not one by one, but we'll do that by conversations like Jacob suggested. And then I'm gonna set it up on the district website for a blog. So on the blog, you can kind of put in some of your ideas and who you want to hear from. And then when we get a good suggestion for a speaker, then we'll bring in the speaker to help you. And then if you want international speakers, if you have Rotary speakers, just whatever you guys want, brainstorm, and we'll see if we can get those speakers in for you. Okay, so then we can do mentorships for high school or college students with this group as well, because you know the transition from college to career is something that you guys have experience on, right? So we can do that as well. So looking at the different things that you want to do, the different projects that you want to do, because different projects might be, we want to pick up plastics that maybe Keith can organize that in April. And maybe another project could be mentoring or doing a career fair for high schoolers. So, you know, a lot of these ideas, and then Tiara, you can set up that one on Oahu to do the pub crawl and go to Chinatown. And every island, if you can get a group together to organize these fun things to do on your island, then, you know, then you can reach people that are like-minded like you, and then you can do fun things outside of your own club. Now, in January, we have a meeting with the presidents and membership chairs, and we will be talking about DEI, which is diversity, inclusion, and equity, or diversity, equity, and inclusion. And part of that is looking at the different socioeconomic status, like income, careers, age. We need all of the clubs need to take a look and be conscious of who their members are. But say your club doesn't want to change, or they have older members that they have to satisfy too. By having this separate group, you get what you want, and you decide what you want and how you're going to do it and get value out of this. Okay, so let's start with that networking night that we're going to have. So, Evan, do we have a poll or no poll? Okay, so then.
Sorry,
okay, so,
I could do a doodle, but I just don't see the option in the meeting.
Okay, so maybe if you could put in the chat, what day of the week. So we already said 6 o'clock, right? So what day of the week? And I'm thinking it's going to be like a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, right? So if you can put in the chat, what day is it good for you to have these networking things? Okay, Sandy, that's comic relief, yeah. A bird on your head. Okay, Thursday, 1 Tuesday. Oh, Tara, Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay, so we'll add that up, and then we'll let you know. And so we'll send out a Zoom code, and then we can have that. Is there a volunteer to kind of organize the speakers? Anybody want to take that on? No?
I actually have a pretty strong network, so hopefully if anyone else would like to team up, I don't want to volunteer for it solo, but like I'd be happy to gather some speakers.
Okay. Okay, so if you can email me back and let me know what you'd like to do for this group, and if it's just you want to tag along because you're busy, then that's fine. Okay, we'll just set up the meetings for the networking, so we can do breakout sessions where you can talk to each other and speak with people around the state, the district, and then we'll set up the ones with the career development, and then the fun things we can do on every island. So, you know, if every island we can find someone to organize that, would be great. Okay, so we'll try and work on the club side and remind them to be more welcoming, to look at speakers that maybe would appeal to you, and maybe then they can attract younger members as well. But you know, if they have their own way of doing things and you want to get more out of Rotary, this is where we can help each other right here, all of you on this Zoom. Okay, so it looks between Thursday and Wednesday. And so do you want to alternate it, or do you want it always on the same day of the month?
I think consistency would be probably valuable.
Okay.
Also,
okay,
if we break up into smaller groups, then it's not as much to coordinate. So that might be good.
Okay. Okay, so let's go with Wednesday, 6 o'clock. Okay, so in 2 weeks, we can have the first one. Is that okay? Okay. Comments, last comments?
So that's Wednesday the 9th?
Yep. Is that okay for everybody? Wednesday the 9th?
Or the 16th?
I would probably do like the later the better. I mean, the 9th is coming up pretty soon here.
Okay.
So maybe the 16th if possible.
Okay, so let's go December 16th at 6 p.m. Okay, so any last comments? Dylan, you're smiling. What do you want to say?
Oh, no, it's exciting. I just, for me, I think I'm so different. I have a different opinion than what I've heard today. It's just it's not just different experience in Rotary, I think. I'm part of a networking group already that I focus my networking and my business development on. And Rotary to me is 100% giving back to the community. And it's 100% projects here on Maui. And it's 100. And I'm so focused and heavily involved in the youth. So I think this is such a great tool for everybody here. And I unfortunately, I don't see myself with the other committees that I'm on in Rotary being able to attend their Zoom call every week, Naomi. And I hope that's okay with you. I hope everyone finds some value from it. I'm just speaking out of my own schedule that in my week right now, and you know, on the board of our club and everything, it seems it would be pretty difficult for me to attend it.
Yeah, and people are busy with a lot of different things. And Dylan, I think what you could bring to this group is when you're working with the interactors in Hana or in Lanai, and you need mentors from this group, we can partner, right?
That's awesome. Yeah, totally. So I'll drop it when I can, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So Dylan, by the way, you guys, he's working with setting up a interact in Hana and on Lanai, really two real hard places. Thank you, Dylan, for trying to do that. So I hope that you can get that going. But you know, here you've got people who can on your island that can help you with the mentoring and with helping with those kids. Okay, so let's try it out and see how we can get this going. And if it means that people still cannot make Rotary meetings because the location or the dues structure, you know, it could be that maybe we need to set up a satellite with your club if you have a group of people that want to join. Or maybe we do an e-club statewide for young professionals and they just focus on networking. You know, that is another possibility with lower dues. Okay. Thank you. Any last comments?
Is there a chat transcript that you downloaded or something?
Yeah, I have I get the transcript and I can send that out to everybody. And I'll send that out with the Zoom code for the 16th.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Erica. Okay.
Awesome.
If not, thank you all for coming. Sandy, you have any comments?
Great beginning conversation, because I think this is a really important focus of Rotary, and you folks are our future, right? And the younger professional generation, young, whatever we want to call it, they are the future of Rotary. You are the future of Rotary. So I think making this shift is an important one. So thanks for being a part of this, because it's important.
Yeah. And please speak up, because, you know, the question of about rebranding and making things fun, it can happen, but maybe not, if you're not in your club, it can happen with this group. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you, Naomi.
Thank you.